Okay, it's the Rams game. It's turn 69, and we've got a global going up. Something we haven't seen in a little while. Blackmane, what's your thoughts on this one?
This is Maelstrom.
Yep, coming up for
Uh,
Yiz.
yep, which is the water gem gen. It's a really good global. But
I do
gem gens
not.
in the super late game aren't
Yeah,
really like he could have spent these gems on vengeful waters.
exactly. I do
Bit,
not
bit
rate
late to
gem
get the
gens
return.
highly this late.
Yeah, neither. And nothing wrong with the gem gen itself, but you're not getting your return for investment anymore.
Yep. And dragons continue to put pressure on raiding left and right. Shama just cleaning up some indies.
Yep. I think
Ooh,
we're seeing in action why try to do something funny.
yeah, I wonder what happened to him here. Let's see. He's throwing up body ethereal.
It's just a
Odd.
very generic kit by looks.
Yeah.
I don't think that will do it.
Why you not have magic weapons?
I thought they did. Let's see.
No, they do not. Okay, so I guess
Hmm.
body ethereal will help a bit.
Those stats are not enough though.
No, attack skill is super low. Not sure the girdle of might is the right choice. Maybe stack your prot a bit higher.
Yeah, he's got a lot of reinvig. I think it's just he's gone with like a kind of generic thug kit. Like we always hammer in, generic thugs are kind of usually mediocre at everything. You really want to tailor very specifically, do some labbing and figure it out. So it looks like he's gone with a kit that's got a lot of reinvig. But golems have zero encumbrance. You don't actually need that much other than the fact that he just
He's casting
fatigued himself out.
spells, but yeah.
Might have just been on cast rather
Yeah.
than on attack.
But he just doesn't do enough damage. He's just gonna get chipped down.
Yeah. I mean, he's got a cold. He's using a Frostbrand, and it makes sense, right? Because you've got such low attack. But
It's
these
into a
guys have cold
cold resist,
resistance.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would have liked to see maybe Astral Tempest coming off the Golem. Is that what
Yeah.
Sham was using against Olm?
Yeah, that's right.
Obviously, the MR is a little
Yeah.
higher here, but probably would have done a little bit more.
Apologies for naughty bird sounds. Yeah, I think Astral Tempest could have done pretty well here. He's just going to get chipped down.
Yeah. So there you go, folks.
Or
Golems can die to just mundane troops. Gotta be careful. Olm's still kicking. Not going down without a fight.
I think if he'd had maybe an acid helm, yeah, like a crystal coin instead of the girdle and an acid helm, I think that would have done quite a lot better. Just didn't have the damage output.
Look at this ugly.
Ah, yeah, monster fish.
It'll eat you up. Yum yum.
Okay, so we've got the monster fish.
I think this might be the mercenary. Yeah, Sog. This is I think he's just messing around. Yeah, it's gonna die. These monster fish are actually really good though. There are some that Atlantis gets, and particularly if you transfer mind on them.
Yeah, the swallow's doing work. Clearing squares. Oh, and then it just goes down, but the water. Wow, that's a lot of water elementals.
A lot of gems, I guess.
Oh, is that living
Yeah,
water?
yeah, living water. Yeah, the monster fish. The problem is they're undisciplined, so you really want to use transfer mind to make them commanders, so they sit there. But if you buff them up, the problem is just they have very low prop. But if you give them some prop, their attack ignores defense. It auto hits.
And it swallows smaller, right?
Yeah, so
This would have
any
been
size
really good
five is
for
smaller.
Atlantis to use against Yiz to deal with the Monarch Knights.
Yeah, these things absolutely slap. But they do require setup.
Yep. Here we have Yiz pushing back a little bit on the Ryugo raiding. We've got Ulm pushing back on Atlantis. We've got some more
Coast.
raiding back and forth. Yeah,
Yeah, that's the rating.
putting a lot of mages in the field finally, which is nice to see from Dragons.
Yeah, the right thing to do for sure. Ulm's still putting up the good fight. I respect that.
TC as well seems to still be trying.
Yeah, chucking
Ooh.
some stuff in.
Here we go. Yeah, these Shinu armies are pretty nice. Got
Yeah,
Howl,
Mono is so good.
got Wailing Winds. What was that effect?
Army of Gold. It's Army of Gold. Yep, some good late game buff stacking. Should
Whoa,
clear
was
this.
that Pillar
very
of Fires or something that just hit this Dione?
Could have been. If you click on it and press V, I think.
Yep,
Yeah,
Pillar of Fire.
Nice pickup.
Pretty good in a siege battle like this. Obviously, Shinu's got some overwhelming numbers on their side. But
Yeah, well, I think really what's gonna, like, actually, Ulm could do pretty well here, but Wailing Winds puts a
Wailing Winds is
timer.
gonna, yep, there we go. The
Yeah, it's
mages
gonna
have already broken. Howl and Wailing Winds was enough.
Yep.
As soon as all those mages clear.
Wailing Winds is just such an incredibly strong spell.
Yep.
Easily, even with the nerf in DE, it's still one of the best spells in the game. No question. And this is why. You can have your plan, but Wailing Winds doesn't care about your plan. It just puts a timer on the battle regardless. Thankfully, in DE, there are some counters that you can use to keep your Mage Core hanging around. Like they're called Banner of Courage. And there's also a air spell that requires Spell Singer, but boosts your morale by +5. And of course, a lot of the plus morale items are cheaper. So there are things you can do, but you need to act. You need to do them. You need to be prepared. Otherwise, Wailing Winds kind of auto wins. It's a bit like a Rigor. Rigor Mortis is a similar spell where if you're not prepared, doesn't matter what you otherwise have prepared, you still lose.
Yeah. Once the Howl Wolves take care of these last few mages.
Yeah, that'll be it, I think.
Yeah, the Vine Ogres will disappear, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're magic beings, so they'll leave. Which is a pity. I think actually Orm could have held here. But yeah, that's just late game tech for you.
Yeah. Speed things up.
It's funny how bad wolves are at killing anything, even when they're asleep.
Yep, there we go.
Yep, final guys are just disappearing. There we go.
And
plain.
actually, it did look like Shinu was taking some losses, but it was mainly bugs and other nonsense that they summoned.
Yeah, it's summoned, so
Yeah.
very clean Shinu.
It's a well put together army from Shinu.
Yep.
Similar to some of those Shamba armies we're seeing. Here's another one. Pretty well put together. Maybe a little bit light on mages. Comparatively.
Yeah, a lot of mages, but still do the job, I think.
Yep. Okay, let's take a look at the strategic map here. You've got dragons pushing towards this throne.
Ooh. How many thrones are dragons on? Have they got a chance at this? Or is it just that one? Two.
Two.
And they're still a while off. They'd have to really do some crazy stuff.
This army here in
I mean-
TC, didn't it take TC last turn?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they didn't move. Maybe they're reinforcing.
Yeah.
They really need to move on that throne, or they're going to actually lose their chance at winning.
Yeah, Shinu may be taking a run at this throne.
Sensible.
Cleaned up, they now have steel ovens.
Yeah. Sadly, about 50 turns too late to be meaningful.
They captured the fort there, and oh, look at all that pressure by dragons.
Oh, yeah. Use this done for already, which is. I mean, I say that, but there hasn't been any major battle yet. It's just been raiding wars, really.
Yeah, but Yiz took a few heavy losses to
That's
Ulm
true.
in those fights.
Looks like they're not putting up too much defense underwater. Which they can. Yiz can fight underwater just fine. I think sometimes people kind of get in their head that some things are impossible, so they shouldn't bother.
Yeah.
So I see this quite a lot. Like Yiz will get attacked underwater and be like, oh, I can't win. They just give up. But it's not true. Yiz is more than capable of fighting underwater. They're not, like, it's not a favored matchup, but they can do it.
Well, let's jump into turn 70. See what we've got.
Yeah, I'm hoping we get some good Yiz Ryugo fights. I mean, the fact that Ryugo is raiding them doesn't mean they're out. That's just what Ryugo does.
Here we are, turn 70, and yeah, looks like Yiz is pushing back.
Great. Yeah, good job, Yiz. Not giving up. I take it all back.
Shamba, clean up some Ulm. Ulm continues to.
Fight back. Just a ping.
No, they didn't.
Nah, just
Yeah, Yiz making use of the princesses to take back quite a bit. Decent sized force.
might get jumped by the magic phase now.
Yeah.
See if that's the kind of play counterplay.
Ooh, this one hurts also.
That's really bad. How did they lose so badly?
Well, it's going to be a ton of water elementals, right?
Well, there'll be a ton on this side, but there should be a ton on the other side too.
Yeah, if I had to guess, he's going to put up on. Oh, no. Okay.
Oh, communion slaves. Oh, that's not the play.
Put in the druids and the slaves. Some as
What's he gonna
masters.
cast for this? What's he casting?
Some the
Looks
water
like-
elementals.
Nothing. Yeah, that ain't gonna do it. I think it was just like Legions of Steel, kind of mid-game tech.
Earth elementals. Where are the water element?
What? Why?
What is this guy doing? Oh, living water. Okay.
He's casting it. He's put up aspect of the sea first, I think. What? Earth elementals are not the answer.
What are these guys spamming? Frozen Heart.
It's
Yeah.
not. Yeah. And looks like. Yeah.
Yeah, just not enough water elementals on the his side.
Yeah, not enough mages.
Yeah.
And I think not quite enough. Kind of still a mid-game army. Like doing kind of mid-game spells. Like if they'd had, like in that situation, if they had say Alt 9, they put up like Army of Gold, this kind of stuff, then actually that would do a lot better. Yeah, but I mean, if we look at the armies, it makes sense, right? Like they're just
Yeah, 72
they did actually have more
sacreds
mages.
versus 21.
yeah. Most of the druids there were just slaves, so
Yep.
But it was a good attempt.
Ooh, nice clap back from Ulm. Obviously. Oh no, wait, Shinu won this?
Oh yeah, Shinu cleaned it up.
Oh. They lost very few of the red masks. These guys just have native air shield? What?
They do, yeah.
Interesting.
And true shot longbows,
Yeah.
which sounds really powerful. It's actually the way that precision works means that it's not actually as good as it seems. As you can see, they're still missing with a true shot longbow because it's not super well programmed. But
Quite a bit stronger than Ulmish infantry.
yeah, they're just very strong units still. And the true shot longbows still do pretty decent damage. And once enemies get close, then they start getting more accurate. Well, you see, they're still missing. Yep. 4 ranged attacks in Dominions 5.
Do you have any hopes that it'll change in Dominion 6?
There's been a lot of talk about it, but who knows the mind of the Winter Overlords. Really just depends on whether they personally decide it's something that they're interested to fix.
Yeah, at this
Kind of
close
how they
range, the longbow seem to be doing some work. But
Yeah, they do
against
pretty well.
these, with the shields, very little damage.
Yeah, that's kind of 2 main reasons why archers have a lot of trouble in Dominions 5. One is that the accuracy calculation is very strange, and so you get a lot of misses. And the other is that shields, the way that shields work against them, I don't recall the exact maths, but they have a very high chance to add their prot. Like very high, like 80 or 90% for every hit. And a tower shield is like, what, 23 prot, something like this?
19.
19 prot, yeah. So these guys have got,
They would have over 40
yeah, just huge.
versus a 17.
Yeah, so nothing ever gets through, basically. Like, you just have to have so many arrows in the air that 10% works. And then, of course, on top of that, a lot of late game fights. They've got arrow fend or storm, this kind of thing. So
Yeah.
certainly strategies you can do with archers, but not normally considered a particularly strong strategy. Mass crossbows works pretty well, other than that.
Kind of a ragtag army here from Shamba. Not used to seeing something like this.
Huh. Just whatever they had in their neighborhood, I guess.
Lifelong
some
protection.
fluffing?
A water bottle, and an acorn.
Generic thug. Generic thug.
Interesting. A lot of crossbows on the Ulmish side.
Lots of crossbows.
Oh, and then the lions and
Oh,
mage retreated?
okay. Might have been just fluffing.
Oh, and they were set as bodyguards to hold them there longer?
Mm.
Do bodyguards retreat with you?
I just assumed they did, but it looked like they don't.
Yeah, no, they didn't, right?
Yeah, it's not an interaction I've ever thought about before. Learning new things. It's pretty cool. Gonna have to test it in the lab later. I'm imagining some pretty spicy tech out of that, actually.
Uh-oh. Can't be teaching Blackmane new tricks. He's already got enough. I can hear the gears turning in your head.
Yeah, that goes silent as the cogs start turning away. Yeah, all right. So, yeah, I think they've been pretty fluffed up, these
Yeah.
thugs.
And now, yeah, the front line's
Chewed
breaking.
through.
Yeah.
Plant is still just cleaning house with Ulm. Tianchi, this must be somewhere on the border.
I think This is just south of that throne.
Ooh.
Ooh, I think they lost a few mages there from that initial volley. Crossbows.
Yeah, that was well done. One little trick that a lot of people don't know is when you have big sets of crossbows, if you split them into smaller groups and then don't put them on fire closest, just put them on hold and fire, then they'll pick random targets. And if your opponent has a big mage ball, those random targets can often be mages. So on that initial volley, you can often put a whole set into mages rather than just into the front line, which is obviously much more effective.
Yeah, and on the other side, Gift of Heavens is extremely strong anti fort or fort defense tech. Just being able to hold a gap like this and then drop meteors.
Yeah, really good. I mean, fort battles, they give me sweaty palms. Like it's whenever I'm storming a fort, especially if I don't have a turn to check what's in there, I always get nervous because that tiny gap there, it's so easy to hold if you have the right kind of tech.
Yep.
I mean, you can kind of even see here that really Chinchi had nothing, just dregs. But they did, like, obviously they got cleaned. They actually did okay. Like, they still managed to kill quite a few Shark Berserkers. Like, you would expect on an open battle, this would have been a complete wipe.
Yeah, Shark Berserker's not cheap either, but
This is a very strong unit.
yeah. Well, let's watch some arena fights. What do we got, Yiz?
Generic Thug
With a slave collar.
versus
A dragon with a slave collar.
Generic Thug with a slave collar. Yep.
What do you get with the Frostbrand? I'm not sure. I feel like the default Sword of Swiftness might be better for the arena purposes.
I'm still gonna get it.
Yep. Shark Knight versus a Hill Giant.
Not a fight you see very often.
Lifelong protection
Yes.
and a Sword of Sharpness.
Lifelong is the right call, the most broken arena item.
Ooh, the Boread
wasn't
able
enough.
to take it down.
Because it ran forward. Should have let a few more imps come into play first. I think it's MR is low.
Yeah.
Oh, MR 5. Oh, mistakes were made. Yeah, that won't get through the Vine Shield. He's going to stay permanently Vine Shielded. I think that's a MR1 because Vine Shield is a MR hard negate. Oh, got a hit through though.
Yeah, almost did it.
Almost did it. And that would have been, if he'd actually got the kill with an equivalent MR1 unit, that would have been hilarious.
Flying ship.
It's a pretty good pickup.
Oh.
Yep. That was that golem jump. So he's on it.
Oh, and he probably is just scrambling to put pressure down everywhere on Ulm.
Yep. Now needs to move that army in.
Yeah. Still needs one more throne, though. There we go. Shinu did move that army down onto that throne.
I wonder whether he's nervous about getting coalitioned like Ulm was. But
Maybe,
at some
but
point, you just have to shoot
to
your
go
shot.
for it.
Go for it. Yeah.
Okay, so that's turn 70. Yiz took back quite a bit of their underwater holdings. Obviously, an expensive loss here on the fort.
Mm.
They're likely to lose the fort next turn.
I wonder whether Ryugo actually sham sold that throne to Ryugo. I do wonder.
Possible?
In exchange for fighting Yiz.
Oh.
which is not that's actually not a bad play.
Yeah.
Well, things continue to heat up. This is going to be a epic conclusion, I think. Sham really needs to take the initiative here, I think, or risk maybe losing that initiative to Ryugo. Even Shinu's starting to swing in now.
Yeah, I just think Shinu, they were so small for so long. They just don't have the scale of Shamba.
Yeah.
Like we
And
see
they're
it.
now on, what, 2 thrones?
Yeah. Once they take this one. They have some decent armies, they just think geography does not favor them.
Yeah, they're just too small. I mean, it's the curse of playing tall.
Yep.
This doesn't really work in this game. They just don't have the force projection now to get to enough thrones.
Yeah.
Unless the game... I mean, if the game drags out long enough eventually.
Yep.
But also, yeah, they have a lot of tech and they have these really good armies. But Chamb has like an army equivalent to that, but 6 of them in the same region instead of just 2.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, well,
So what's Atlantis up to?
oh yeah, we'll take a little peek. They relatively quiet this past turn, continuing to work against Ulm. They grabbed Asphodel, the former cap.
Otherwise,
But I
guess
would have
mostly
expected them to done something underwater.
Yeah, what are they planning? Something. Okay.
Well, we'll call it a wrap on that turn 70. Yeah,
Sounds good.
turn 70, and we'll see you again on turn 71.
Yeah, see you all then.
Have a good one.
See you, Torsion.